The only Arknights lore video you need, newbie edition, right? Break me in. That sounds super sus. That's super sus. Introduce me for the Arknights lore, shall we? The newbie version, because that's what I am. Terrible choice of words, Pix.
Welcome to Terra, the channel we explain Arknights lore. I am Akka, and in this video, I will provide a simple breakdown of the lore of Arknights for both beginner and casual players. The lore you'll discuss in this video will be split into several sections, such as terminology, the nations, the various races, and the threats at this world and its...
Yeah, I'm in the minute. They are really, to be fair, at the moment, the only ones I'm kind of, well, I suppose I say mainly playing, it's Wua, ZZZ, and Reverse 1999. Obviously, Enfield as well, but it's a beta, so it doesn't really count. But yeah, I'm kind of on his semi-playing ZZZ at the minute. I still haven't got back into it properly. I'm just getting on to do my dailies, to be fair.
Inhabitants face. Just a heads up, there are some spoilers ahead. If you prefer to read and play the game without spoilers, then stop. If not, then let's get started.
Let's go.
First, let's go over a few terms which are important to the basic understanding of the world of Arknights. Originium is one of the most...
I know that Victoria. I seen that on the load-up screen when I actually booted up Arknights.
Most important words to keep in mind. This crystal is very important to the people of Terra, as it's a power source for technology and powers. However, it's a double-edged sword, as people can get infected with Hypergryph, a deadly disease. We'll talk about this later.
Oh, okay, that's what that girl's got, yeah, in Enfield.
Think of Originium as the magic or powers of the Arknights world, allowing users to cast and manipulate different powers. Some races and individuals may have unique Originium unique to them. The word infected is a term or labeling someone with Hypergryph. People who are infected with Hypergryph are treated poorly, often as second-class citizens or worse. Various nations and races treat the infected differently, however. Hypergryph is a deadly illness on Terra that comes from active Originium via inhaling it, getting it into your blood.
Oh shit, man, yo, this universe seems kind of sick, actually.
Wounds and cuts. Hypergryph slowly crystallizes the individual over time until, well, they can no longer breathe or move. Eventually, the individual will die, crumble away, and even combust or explode, spreading the Originium dust crystals around the area of the person's death. If other people are in the area or affected by these, they will most likely become infected, unless they are wearing suitable safety wear.
I was going to say, so you breathe it in.
Are powerful natural disasters, from earthquakes to storms to blizzards and even to meteor storms. Catastrophes are not only deadly disasters, but it also carries and spreads Originium around the world, making more and more dangerous zones to live in, and more Originium around the world. To avoid catastrophes, people have made a vast majority of mobile cities, which are able to move away.
Alright, interesting.
Messages are people with skills to calculate and analyze when a catastrophe is coming, and give that information to cities so
like
they're able to
engines.
move away in time. Nomadic cities, or mobile cities, are cities or settlements that are built over giant vehicles, which allows them to move their position on land. They are built to move away from catastrophes. This also functions and allows for easier access with trade with other nations and cities. The world of Arknights is set on Terra, a planet with similar environments from dry and arid deserts to lush rainforests, wondrous plains, and to harsh, frozen tundra. In so many ways, this planet is like our Earth, yet so different. Terra has a supercontinent, and still some parts of Terra haven't even been completely explored. Terra is also constantly changing under civilizations, natural disasters, and catastrophes. Let's start with the nations, beginning with Bolivar. It is one of the western nations on Terra, located in the northern part. Despite its thriving economy and culture, Bolivar is currently in
Bolivia
instability due to a stalemate between three major factions: the Sincas dynasty, the coalition government, and the true Bolivarians. It is also famous for the mobile city Dos Soles, known for its neutrality, and the annual event known as the Dos Soles Warrior Championship. Colombia. Colombia is the youngest nation in Terra, and a melting pot of different cultures and races. Originally a Victorian colony, it declared independence in 1019 and became a very powerful nation in terms of politics and technological advancements. Siesta is a small independent city-state near the inland sea of Claricide. As one of Colombia's 3 city-states, the city is famous for its touristic patronage, beaches, and the annual Obsidian Festival, Terra's most famous music festival. Durin is a nation underground. Not much is known about this location, however.
I like that. It's an underground city called Durin. Okay.
It's home
That
to
little
the
homage to
Durin.
Lord of the Rings.
To the south of Bolivar, we arrive at Sargon. This nation is a mixture of lush forests and jungles to hot, dry deserts. Sargon is led by 2 different leaders. One is the Lord Emir, and the Pasha or the Padishah, who is more acknowledged as the ruler. Important to note, the Pasha have some more power over the Lord Emir. Sargon does have a king in the central land, however, not much is known. Sargon also borders the Foan Hotlands to the south. Minos is one of the smaller nations, with a culture revolving on hero cult, mainly the 12 heroes of Hymnoi. Minos was at one point colonized by Sargon between the years 9.
And like some of these, like, are these some of these like references almost to Lord of the Rings? Because like the Durin, a Draves, that's underground though, yeah, like Durin, the dwarf. You know, Minos, the way this, like, you know, even like, it's like got a Greek whatsy, but the walls here and the sitting on the cliffside's almost kind of a little bit like Minas Tirith, almost. Not quite, like I'm reaching a little bit, but you know, makes sense it being Greek as well, actually.
While they broke free, they've often been harassed and raided by Sargon forces from time to time. Kajerag is a landlocked, secluded nation, which is surrounded by a massive mountain range and protected by the goddess Fermat Kajergranda. I hope I'm saying that right. Its neighbouring nations are Colombia, Victoria, Kazimish. Compared to its bordering nations, Kajerag is still a developing country. Let's venture far north as we go to Sami, the furthest northern country on Terra, and probably one of the most dangerous, as there are freezing temperatures, blizzards, and something eldritch, hideous, lurking in those winds that come from beyond. The Collapsals. Sami is home to the Efian race and lesser known ones that are collectively known as the Sami Fjord, that have a tribal-like culture. These tribes and clans often clash with the eldritch dangers. For these reasons, the Sami Fjord are often strict with outsiders to their land. Oh, Victoria, one of the most powerful nations, known for its romanticism and use of steam-powered machinery. Despite being ruled by a monarch,
Victorian Britain inspired,
or the Aslan race, Victoria has been passing through a succession crisis for the last 2 decades, as both races fight each other for the power. The Dukes of Victoria, on the other hand, have been looking for a chance to seize the throne. Victoria is currently one of the nations involved with the main story. The majority of Casimir territory is dubbed the Land of the Knights, is covered by grassland and home to the knightly Kuranta for generations. Despite its chivalrous and heroic origins, however, Casimir has become a nation plagued with greed and corruption, using the title of knights and their tournaments to make money.
Well, like Convergent World Buildings is inspired by similar myths in history IRL. You're right about Victoria.
The Southern Sea, formerly
is that like Spain?
A powerful maritime empire, they once had the most powerful navy fleets. However, this strong nation was brought down by a devastating and mysterious disaster known as the Profound Silence, potentially created.
What was that? As a flood? Is that kind of like a little bit of a head nod to the Spanish Armada? And what happened? Was it the Battle of Trafalgar? Was it?
By worshippers and threats from the deepest depths of the sea. Iberia since then has struggled to recover and remain distant from other nations. Following the profound silence, Iberia has established a religious order known as the Inquisition, which was previously
Spanish
known as the
Inquisition.
Church of Iberia. The church was reorganized by Saint Carmen to combat the threats from the sea. Laterano is a small nation.
This is
sacred
cool world building,
homeland
actually.
To the angelic, trigger-happy race Sancta. Laterano is a nation where the Sancta found a safe homeland away from their sibling race, the
Yo, you know what? Just these universes kind of making me want to play the fucking game, man. Like, I hope we get some fucking cool world building like this in Enfield. This is
their
fucking sick.
long-lasting feud and dark past, the Laterano of today is very energetic, open-minded, and known for its dessert culture with the Pope as their leader. Laterano is famous for its religious beliefs, Laterism, and the Laterano Church that acts as the government, dealing with numerous state affairs. Aside from the Sancta, it's also home to the Liberi population, due to their diplomatic relationship with Iberia in the past. Lefania's neighbouring countries are Victoria, Casimir, Eurus, Syracuse, and Laterano. This country is famous for classical music, use of originium arts, arts-based technology, and musical arts. Lefania was once ruled by the greatest caster in history, the Witch King, who was later overthrown by the twin empresses. It is home to the Caprine race, which makes up majority of the population. A nation south of Yan and Kasdel, known for its mining operations and industry, is Rimbiliton. Rimbiliton has one of the 3 biggest originium veins running underneath it. Due to its constant mining operations, the residents of Rimbiliton are very vulnerable to oropathy, and while they aren't highly discriminatory to the infected, Rimbiliton is known to see its people nothing more than labourers and workforce. Syracuse, the land of the mafia and the fangs and howls of the prominent race, the Lupo and some Volpo. Syracuse has influence from other nations such as the religious beliefs and legal systems from Laterano, technology from Colombia, Lefanian love for music,
That
and
makes
the
sense.
main cultural
Rimbiliton
identity
in Australia,
is the
especially
mafia
Billiton.
tradition that comes from the ancient Syracuse and the 12 families that govern the nation. The families themselves are under supervision from Signora Cecilia.
I like that, like the mafia.
The ancient land of the
vibe.
Sarkaz, Kasdel. This worn-torn nation is home to the native Terran race, the Sarkaz, which was built thousands of years ago by the first Sarkaz Lord of Thebes. The sad state of Kasdel is due to the nation being perpetual conflict, not only between the Sarkaz and the other nations, but also the infighting among themselves. Kasdel has been destroyed and rebuilt numerous of times in the past. The true Kasdel today is where the Sarkaz can finally have a place called home. Before there were any concept of countries,
Is that like a little bit of
Sarkaz
a...
back then, known as the Tizak, considered Kasdel their world. Ursus, the largest nation.
Well, that was like a bit of an head nod to
the namesake race,
Israel then, in like the
Ursus,
fact of
is
finding their
ruled by
own.
an emperor. Ursus is often known to be hostile, xenophobic to other nations, and known to be horribly cruel to the infected. But that's a story for another day. Ursus was once ruled by the Hypergryph Liberi, but when
Was
they
this in
failed
like a head
to
nod to
protect
Russia?
the nation, the other dominant
It almost
race,
looks like the
the
Kremlin.
Ursus, rose up, rebelled, and took over, and renaming the nation to Ursus. Ursus is one of the nations that are dealing with the collapsal threat in the far north. Higashi is near the northeast
This is
of
Japan,
Yan.
I'm
Higashi
assuming.
was in a long civil war between the northern and southern courts. However, when Ursus tried to invade, the two sides joined forces and pushed back the invading force back into Ursus, where it eventually led to volatile peace between and within Higashi's two sides. While north of Higashi is still isolated from outside nations, the south is far more welcoming.
Because
What we do
Japan
know
as well
about
was the
Higashi is-
first nation to beat a Western power in conflict, wasn't it? When they beat Russia in was it like 1910? I think it was. And they used British-built battleships to fight the Russian fleet and actually won.
Is that it's famous for its founding mythology and love for video games and manga. One of the eastern nation, Yan, is ruled by an emperor, which is
Okay,
said
is this
to be
like China then?
long. Yan's famous history is that of emperors wanting to overthrow and kill gods. The gods being Fermats. Long ago, an emperor started a war against these gods, believing that their refusal to help the people of Yan, even when misfortune struck, means that they are unworthy to call themselves gods, and started a great hunt after allying himself with another Fermat known as Sui. They were eventually victorious and removed these threats, and even split Sui into living fragments of itself. Yan is another nation, along with Sami and Ursus, that has conflicts with the Eldritch threat. Aegir is the only known nation that is under the ocean. Not much is known about it.
Okay.
But it is inhabited by the Aegir race. Supposedly, their technology is extremely advanced, but they are facing a threat known as the Seaborn and potentially the Church of the Deep, a threatening cult that somewhat worships the Seaborn. There is one more nation to make you aware of. That is the Dead Nation of Ghoul. Potentially a technologically advanced nation of its time, Ghoul are famous for their artilleries. Ghoul were also one of the nations that allied themselves with Kalsit to invade and destroy Kazdel 200 years ago. Unlike the other nations, Ghoul later asked help from Kazdel to some extent, and even hiring some Kazdelian royal court casters to help them against Lefanian arts. Ghoul was later destroyed in the Battle of the Four Emperors by its former allies and was completely wiped out. There are still some small lingering citizens of Ghoul around Terra, but ultimately the nation is completely gone. There are 3 unknown but dangerous locations of Terra. These are the Fernan Hotlands, the Ifni Icefields, and even further north beyond the Ifni Icefields lies an uncharted location, a potentially massive crater within the world of Terra. And that is where we come to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful if you're a player or someone interested in the lore. If you wish to know more about us,
I'm gonna have to sub to this dude. I will say, yo, Arknights seems like it's got some cool ass world building, man. Dude, a whole fucking Enfield's got this sort of level of world building because I love this sort of shit. I do, you know. As somebody who's like a massive fan of things like Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, you know, Warhammer 40k, anything sci-fi fantasy, especially if you build out a universe and give me like, especially things like that, geographical information, history, cultures, all that sort. I love it, man. I love it. Ooh, yeah. That's cool, actually. I'm gonna have to watch. I feel like I could go on a binge watching this dude's videos. To be fair, is this all he's uploaded? Oh shit, dude, hitting with a high quality content, bro. Excuse me. The high quality content. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm gonna have to watch some more of these. Oh, I think we'll do that tomorrow, man. We'll definitely watch some more of these tomorrow. So got the races, the Bible, the timeline, and the year of Pythia. Okay, it's kind of making me want to play Arknights. Do you know? It's kind of making me want to play Arknights.